Hey, this is Buff Bagwell, and you're watching the Cards Subject to Change podcast. Check it out.
Welcome back to the show.
Welcome back to the show.
And now, your hosts of the Card Subject to Change podcast, the For Frequency's Sake Tag Team Champions of the World, the Wizard CZ, and never wrong, Nick Bull.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another exciting edition of the Card Subject to Change podcast, the podcast by the fan for the fan. Of course, I'm your host, never wrong, Nick Bull. So happy that you've joined us, so happy that you found us, and so happy that you're here to talk professional wrestling with us. Of course, we are powered by Lopez Pizza, built by Durham Remodeling, and colored by Ryan Allison Tattoo. I said we, of course, two-man operation here. We are co-champs of the For Frequency's Sake Tag Team Championship Network. And he's a wizard. So, yeah. He is the one. He is the only. He is the Wizard CZ. Wiz, how you doing, bud?
Man, I am feeling great. I'm going to be honest. My internet is acting a little sketchy, so we'll see how this goes. But before we get to business, because we got a lot of spinning plates in this episode, just want to mention that QR code above Nick's shoulder. If you have not joined the Toys for Tots for Frequency's Sake Football League, still time to sign up. Join us. We've each got Nick and I each have a league going. So click that QR code, give us a sign up. But enough about that. We have a full house of guests today, Nick.
Yes, a very chatty green room before we jumped on, but that's a good thing. I think our audience are going to like the group of guys you're going to introduce here and that we're going to have on the show here for the next few minutes.
I'm going to bring them all in here and have them just kind of introduce themselves, give us a little background. But I was on this podcast about a month ago, I want to say. So I had a fun time with these gentlemen, and I'm excited to have them on our show. Let's welcome into the studio the boys from the Rejects podcast. Gentlemen, how you doing today?
Man, we are good. Thank you for having us, gentlemen. We appreciate it.
Yes, sir. We're really glad to be here and really glad to network with you guys.
Yeah, I just love talking wrestling, so I'm excited.
And I'm just pumped. CZ came and did the JOB for you guys. You guys are going to come here and make us look like $1 million.
Yeah, absolutely. When we had CZ on, like you said, a month ago, we had a blast. We were talking wrestling for, I think we actually went over on our time. We only wanted to go about an hour and a half. We went about 2:15. It was a great show, and we've gotten a lot of feedback since he was on. So definitely glad he did the job for us, and now we're here just to repay the favor.
CZ's the gift that keeps on giving. So
I don't know about all that.
I'm glad. I'm pumped. I'm glad you guys are here, and I listened to your guys' show when you had CZ on. You guys had a great time. So I'm looking to add to the conversation. I'm looking forward to hearing what you guys have to say. But I ask all first timers in the studio the same question. I'll look for three answers here. Why pro wrestling? What was it that got you where you're like, ooh, I got to keep watching this?
I guess I'll start us off on this one, boys. When I was a kid, man, like I said in my post about Hulk Hogan the other day, I started off with VHS tapes from like Blockbuster, Movie Gallery, whatever you want to call it. And it was all like collection videos, like WrestleMania's greatest hits or SummerSlam's greatest hits, whatever. And from there, I just, I didn't really have a love for the old school matches at that time because I was like 5, 6, 7 years old. But the more I got into it, the more I went back and watched some of these old matches, the more I really fell in love with what they were doing, especially like Ricky Steamboat and Savage from WrestleMania 3.
Hell yeah.
The Hogan Andre match from WrestleMania 3 with the slam heard around the world. And then Ultimate Warrior was a big big deal for me too, because ADHD and high energy music, and he ran 70-0 to the ring. So it was always just the energy, the crowd, and everything just kind of pulled me into it.
Go ahead, CJ.
So for me, it's just I was always attracted to the larger than life characters of wrestling. That's why I was a huge WWF fan, because they had a guy with a parrot, they had a guy dressed up like Elvis, they had a crazy guy from Mars that freaking shucked the ropes and stuff. So it's just what I liked, right? And it as a kid, it really drew me in. And in the end, the good guy always wins. And it was just something I really liked as a kid.
Yeah, guys, it's a little different for me because I'm as old as WrestleMania. Every year that there's a WrestleMania, that year I turn the same age. All right, we're going in. We just had WrestleMania 41. My 41st birthday is October 22nd. My very first memory I have of wrestling was standing in front of the TV. My aunt had a picture of me while we were watching Saturday night's main event. It was like 1986, 1985 maybe. And I was wearing a Hulk Hogan bandana as a diaper because I come from the cloth diaper era, and my aunt ran out of diapers. So she used her Hulk Hogan bandana to cover my ass. Excuse my language. Exactly. But that love for wrestling has followed me my whole life. And out of the three of us, Jesse is that consummate fan, lifelong fan. CJ has the Texas roots, where he's a historian. He loves the territory days. I had an in-ring career for 15 years down here in the dirty South. So that's the mesh that we had when we got together talking wrestling, was the different perspectives that the three of us brought to the product.
What did bring you three together?
Karaoke.
Okay.
Yep. We met at a karaoke.
Look, that guy up there, I don't know how your fans are seeing this, but I'm pointing that way on my screen. Jesse, the redhead with the beard, yeah, he tries out for The Voice. Yeah, we're doing me and
Man, this thing messes me up.
Which way did he go? Which way did he go?
The guy at the other end.
So Jesse has tried out for The Voice, X Factor, America's Got Talent. He's tried out for all of them. He has a beautiful voice, but apparently not good enough to make it on TV yet.
Apparently not.
But usually when Jesse's doing a concert, me and CJ will talk about the week's events, and then Jesse chimes in, and our wives got annoyed because we were trying to hang out as adults, have fun, but all we did was talk wrestling. And they said, why don't you just, do a podcast or something? And we were like, bet. That's exactly what we're going to do.
Because it is – hey – because it is just so annoying to talk wrestling at an event, isn't it? My goodness.
I mean,
how dare we talk about it 24/7?
Yeah.
You're preaching to the choir here. I'm always running angles by buddies, of stuff that could never happen. So,
yep.
Excellent. I'm glad CZ asked that, because you talk about different things. So, if there was a wrestling song that you guys would all sing together, what would it be?
Oh man, that's a good one. I know where Chris is going to go. He's going to go Voices by
out there. There are some hidden dandies.
Yeah. See, Jesse already knows I'm a big Randy Orton marker. When it comes to music, Voices by Rev Theory is my absolute favorite song.
But don't put it past me to throw in Hulk Hogan's Real American or Metalingus by Alter Bridge in the karaoke just to do it.
Yeah, but I'm gonna throw a curveball at you. I know what CJ would pick.
What would I pick?
Huh?
What would I pick?
Bad Street USA.
Heck yeah, man.
All right.
That Texas blood he's got. He's picking Bad Street USA, the Freebirds, baby. He's going all the way with that one.
That or American Males by Jimmy Hart. So I like Jimmy Hart's music, man. Really catchy stuff.
He did more than just manage on screen. He was amazing. Yes. He is an amazing talent, music wise. Just look at his musical contributions.
Yeah, and fun fact, this past 4th of July, we had a karaoke event, and it took me 2.5 hours to keep Jesse from singing Real American at karaoke. He kept trying to put it in, and I was like, no, we're not doing that.
I got it in one time at one place we were doing karaoke, and Chris looked at me like, No, the hell you didn't. And then everybody in the bar started doing Hulk Hogan poses and like trying to rip their shirts and doing the,
That
it was
sounds like a
great.
crowd connection to me. Which
It was, but it made Jesse feel like he was at an Ed Sheeran concert and he was Ed Sheeran. Like he got a big head.
It happens, man. It happens.
What about can we get some love for Double J and With My Baby Tonight? I mean, that's an all-time.
That's CZ's song that he sings on here occasionally.
I do love that song. I really do. I think it's really good.
I mean, it's a great song, except for the fact that Road Dogg actually sang it.
Well,
Yeah, see, you can see out of the three of us who's the conspiracy theorist, right?
Well, I know we presented a handful of things to talk about, and we had one come up suddenly this week. I know you guys talked about it on your show. We talked about it on ours, but thoughts on Hulk Hogan and his passing?
Well, we didn't get a chance to hear from CJ about it because our personal lives really affected how we've been able to go on live on our show the past couple of weeks. So, CJ, I'll let you start, and then I'll come in because we all know Jesse posted a Facebook book the other day. So, CJ, go ahead, man.
So honestly, the wrestling business wouldn't be anywhere where it is today had it not been for Hulk Hogan. We're all flawed humans. We all make mistakes, and we've all said things we didn't mean or things we can't take back. But I think that we really judged him too harshly. I mean, he's an old dude. He said some stupid stuff, and he always said stupid stuff. But really, he motivated and inspired me as a kid. He was, and I enjoyed his material. And not only did he do it as a face, but he did it as a heel. He was able to, transcend WWE, and he's able to help make the NWO compete against WWF at the time. And you got to give the guy his flowers. You can't take that away from him because he was larger than life in two different eras. And to me, I mean, he definitely belongs in the Mount Rushmore of wrestling.
Yeah, that was one of the things that I harped on when we went live Thursday night in our little tribute that me and Jesse did, was that we have to discern the difference between Terry Bollea and Hulk Hogan. Because a lot of the things that happened with Hulk in the later, the past few years wasn't a Hulk Hogan issue. That was more of a Terry Bollea as a human being. The Hulk Hogan we knew was the guy who was on our TV screens on Saturdays, Saturday Night's Main Event, the TV shows, Thunder in Paradise, the movies, preaching about, eat your, vitamins, say your prayers, and train and all that good jazz. And too many people these days are trying to vilify him like the other wrestler that I dub He Who Must Not Be Named. And it's two different scenarios. Hogan owned up to the things that he did wrong, regardless of the fact that he canceled a union that would have revolutionized wrestlers in the industry having health benefits back in the 80s. He buried more talent than Undertaker in a buried live matches, and we know how many Undertaker actually had. He monopolized himself in the industry. As a human being, Terry Bollea was trash. But Hulk Hogan was an inspiration to so many people for so many years. 40 years, if you will. You can't take that away from the man.
And Jesse, I'll let you go in a second, but on that, when we started our show, the first thing I said was, we are not here to vilify Terry Bollea. He was, we don't agree with his views. I don't personally like him as a human being, but you have to respect the legacy of the character.
Yep.
Because we're not supposed to know Terry Bollea, but we know Hulk Hogan. He's on our TVs all these years, so we know Hulk Hogan. So so that's what I'm going off of. I'm going off the character that I see on TV, right? So,
one of the things that Chris mentioned that I did post a rather lengthy tribute post to Hulk Hogan. Just kind of like I talked about earlier with the tape trading and all of that back in the day, and how he was, the hero for me back then. This was one of the harder wrestling deaths, along with, I'll put it up there with Eddie Guerrero.
Yeah.
You know, as far as impact to the business, and as far as that's concerned. One of the things that I got accused of off of our video, Chris and CJ, was that I was making excuses on behalf of Hulk Hogan.
No.
I was not making excuses. I was trying to separate the entity of Hulk Hogan from the person of Terry Bollea. Like Chris said, everybody deserves a second chance. I'm not saying that Hulk Hogan may have been the most deserving person of a second chance, because he really did do some messed up stuff and say some messed up things. But in the end, he actually fixed his relationship with Brooke, as far as I know. I think he and Nick were actually on somewhat decent terms from what I've seen, which was a drastic change from what it had been for years.
Yeah.
So that's a testament to how much Hogan had actually changed. And if you look at his shops, like the one in Orlando or Tampa, wherever it's at, people were dropping flowers. That store's seen more business since Hulk Hogan's death than it had seen in weeks prior to that. So there's still a large fan base that is still behind Hulk Hogan, and I was happy for one to see Friday night that he actually got cheered by the crowd. They did a really, really nice tribute package to him at the beginning of the show. We actually had our Rejects correspondent who was there that night in the crowd, posted a bunch of pictures from the event, a couple of videos. So we were glad to be represented in that way there for that tribute. But, his last appearance on WWE TV, he got booed out of the building. And it's like I told Chris, where they booed,
Netflix, right?
the very first Netflix episode. And like I told Chris, was it a case of he got booed because he was trying to push Real American Beer? Did he get booed because we didn't want to see him on our product, or was it strictly cancel culture at that point?
Well, and this is what I was hitting at earlier. I had a conversation just the other day with a guy that I actually trained a few years back. And one of the things I harped on with my training classes was, when you create your gimmick, it needs to be something you're not comfortable doing. That's the only way you get over. And I took that from Hulk Hogan. I took that from Randy Savage. I took that from the Ultimate Warrior, because when those larger than life characters that CJ had mentioned, they're not the same person that you meet outside at a restaurant or at church or anything along those lines. My character, my gimmick, Chris Rage, was a adrenaline fueled just powerhouse that wanted to beat the crap out of everybody. But if you ran into me at Walmart, I'm trying to avoid you because I don't like to be around people. I have, since in my later life, adopted a lot of traits from my wrestling character to be a better person in life, because Chris Rage had no problem associating with anybody. You know what I mean? And that was the thing that we had to discern, was Hulk Hogan did so much for all of us. We're all around the same age. We grew up with Hulk Hogan. We grew up as Hulkamaniacs. If you were a wrestling fan from 80-something to now and you didn't know Hulk Hogan, you watched the wrong product. And he tried to vilify Hulk Hogan for the things that Terry Bollea did, forgetting his entire legacy of what he did for professional wrestling.
And I just want to apologize to Chris real quick for the video package I put together for the tribute that we did to Hulk Hogan. I took a very special clip of Ultimate Warrior's last appearance and edited it down to the Every Man's Heart once beats its last beat, that segment of it. And then I put a Hulk Hogan image at the end of that. And it got kind of emotional for a minute just between the two of those, and Chris kind of called me an a-hole.
I did. Y'all know what it's like when you're trying to start your show, you're getting in that mindset, you're ready to go, and he hits me right in the heart with a dagger, and I was like, you.
No, for sure. No, and you guys hit the nail on the head with what, and I don't want to dwell on this topic because we've all talked about it recently. But yeah, I wanted to hear your thoughts on our platform of what you felt about him and his legacy. Moving on from there, this weekend is a pretty big weekend in the world of wrestling. The first ever 2-night SummerSlam. Are you guys excited?
I'm looking forward to it.
I'm looking forward to it, but I'm interested to see how the 2-night format actually plays out for SummerSlam, because for WrestleMania, sometimes it works really well, and sometimes it feels kind of rushed when they have too many matches on the card. So I want to see if the pacing is on point, if the matches run an appropriate length of time. And I know they've announced a bunch of matches so far, and everything looks to be on fire at this point. So it'll have to, I'm excited to see what happens when the event rolls around.
I look back at the 2-night WrestleManias, not counting COVID. And on average, it was like 7 matches a night. They usually try to go 7 and 7. This is 6 and 6. I think we're going to get like an action-packed, just under 4-hour show each day. That's the route I think we're going to go, or that they have been going. And since it's the second biggest show of the year, I don't think people are going to complain about length as much. But what's got you guys excited the most about either night or this whole event of it in and of itself?
CJ, what about you, man? Go ahead.
Man, anytime I can watch Dominic Mysterio and AJ Styles go, I'm there for that. I think that's the match I'm most excited about. I'm a huge Dominic Mysterio fan, and I really, AJ Styles has done so much. It's just that's the match on the card that I'm really excited to see.
Yeah, we've talked about this before. We're not big fans of the 2-night format because you feel like you're taken away from one night at the other. But for me, I'm really looking forward to the Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa steel cage match. I think when you get these two in the ring, just the caliber that the two of these men have over the U.S. title, it's going to be a banger, and it's going to set the tone for this Bloodline storyline going forward.
Me personally, I know you guys probably didn't catch SmackDown Friday, Chris and CJ, but they actually brought back TLC for SummerSlam.
What?
Yes, the Wyatt Six, Andrade and Rey Fenix, Gargano and Ciampa, Fraxium, Motor City Machine Guns, and the Street Profits in a TLC match.
That's I changed my answer. I'm changing my answer.
Nick Aldis announced that, and I popped so freaking hard, dude.
Yeah, because
I'm excited for the match. I'm worried that there's too many people in the match.
Sounds like a lot.
With 16.
It's a lot.
That's a lot of moving parts.
Well, SmackDown's got the better tag division as it is. So.
Oh.
Absolutely.
Way better.
In the past with these TLC matches, it's been 4 teams. Edge and Christian, the Dudleys, the Hardys, and whoever else they can throw in there for that 4th team. Now it's like 5 or 6 teams going into this thing. So I'm interested to see how they actually kind of behind the scenes play this out, and how the match plays out because of so many moving parts and all the spots that are going to happen. Because if you think Fraxium ain't doing some ladder spot.
I know.
It kind of makes you wonder, and we ask this every once in a while on our show, who, I'm going to phrase it, and I don't mean literally, but who is coming out of this match as a dead man? Who's taking the worst bump of the night?
In that match, or just period?
In that match.
I feel like if I had to pick somebody, only because of his athletic ability and what I've seen him do before in ladder matches, I'd have to pick Montez Ford. That man takes a beating, but he also self-inflicts it because he is probably one of the most underutilized and overly athletic superstars on the entire roster. If they split him and Angelo Dawkins, and gave him a push, he would be a main event caliber champion like that.
Personally, I think Ray Phoenix is made in this match. I've seen a lot of his, a lot of the older matches when he would do with Lucha Underground. These kind of that high style, that high activity, high octane moveset he has will look even cooler coming off of a giant ladder.
I agree with both of you guys, but we can't count out Andrade in this type of match.
No.
Look at what he done in Money in the Bank.
Are we not going to talk about Go ahead.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Are we not going to talk about Gargano and Ciampa, though? I mean, those guys have been putting on bangers since NXT.
They are two of my all-time favorites.
Easy.
Gargano in particular is in my top 5 at the very, if not the top 3. He's just outstanding. I love everything he's done, and not only his tag team matches with Ciampa, but their rivalry. They have so much good chemistry together. They just gel, and it's magic.
Yeah, their feud in NXT was far better than any of the tag matches they've done, in my opinion. That match where they stripped the ring down to the damn boards and were doing spots on the boards.
Oh yeah.
I'm kind of I like Fraxium. I would like to see them win here, but I think the sentimental favorite here is Andrade and Ray Phoenix. Okay, Andrade's wrestling career has been just way underwhelming, right? Goes to AEW, comes back, and then his wife divorces him. So I feel bad for him in that aspect. This guy can go. I'm not saying he's should be the world heavyweight champion by any means, but this guy should be featured on TV as much as he can. Like, he can wrestle. And now with Ray Phoenix, maybe they're going to take this and run with it, do something. I hope so. So that's kind of who I'm rooting for in this match.
Yeah, that promo package they rolled for Phoenix and Andrade on SmackDown Friday.
Dude, that was cool. Dude,
that was amazing.
Their production. I'm talking about WWE here. The Hogan video they did at the beginning of SmackDown. That's what sets them apart from everybody else. Nobody can touch what they do production-wise, like their videos, all that stuff. The presentation, it just can't be beat.
Yeah, you're absolutely right on that, Nick, because that's the one thing that always set WWF apart was that it's the visual, right? It was larger than life, but it was crisp. It was clean. I think they did too many cutaways now in the matches, but I still think that the truck that WWF operates out of is fantastic. Like, they just do so good on the video packages and just the production quality.
Yes, and even better now that they've done away for the most part with those 3D graphics that were ridiculous.
Yeah, that 3D stuff was just, it made me nauseous.
Yeah.
I remember when they went from the full-on stage production they used to do for all the events when HD first became part of the product, and then they realized how crappy the stages looked because the paint was chipping off and it was faded out and stuff like that, and they started switching to HD graphics and stuff like that for the entrances. Now they got the digital boards around the ring and all that. So, I mean, their production is definitely second to none.
Without a doubt, I think they do everything amazing. They do such a great job presenting the product. And now that they've incorporated the drones, getting those different camera angles, it's phenomenal. There's no other way to describe it.
And it's added a layer to at least to one guy's actual gimmick. When Logan Paul brings out that little handheld drone and it makes it a part of his match, like, there's one thing that we all agree on our show. We hate Logan Paul as a human being, but as a WWE superstar, he's money. He's money. He's got the look.
Yeah.
He's got the in-ring ability. He gets over as a heel, and the camera spots that he does, like he used to do the phone. Now he has the drone. It's beautiful because it gives a whole new visual aspect to a wrestling match.
You know, that last spot he did where he did the moonsault with the drone in his hand, and then when he landed, somebody, I think it was Jey Uso, frog splashed the guy after him, and they caught the end of the frog splash with the drone. Like,
Yeah.
I popped so hard for that spot, dude. It, like, I don't like Logan Paul. I'm really hoping Jelly Roll beats his ass at SummerSlam. I don't understand Jelly Roll's entrance music from Friday night. I really don't. Because he came out to Who's Your Daddy by Toby Keith.
Wouldn't he come out
I
to
missed
one of
that.
his
I
own
haven't seen
songs?
When the entrance music started playing, I was like, who is coming out? And then Jelly Roll comes out, and I'm like, why is he coming out to Who's Your Daddy by Toby Keith?
You know, I'm glad we're talking about Logan Paul and Jelly Roll, because let's just address that elephant in the room. What do you guys think about Jelly Roll being a competitor, or any celebrity for that matter?
So I'll kick off. As a business guy, I totally understand and I get it, right? It's cross marketability. They have to answer to shareholders. This is how you get your product out to new sets of eyes. However, as a wrestling fan, I don't like it when they take the place of a wrestler off the card, right? So you got two guys. Sure, Paul, he's a legit wrestler now. I mean, we can't take that away from him. He's main roster all the time. But you have two guys that haven't really been in the business that long, and they're going to be, I mean, they're going to really have to choreograph this match or they're going to be exposed.
Yeah, we look back at the history of celebrities who have made appearances in WWE, and you go back to the old WrestleManias when, like, Cyndi Lauper, Muhammad Ali, Ozzy Osbourne, you know, the late great Ozzy Osbourne, all the way up until when we had the co-host of Raw, and you had guys like Seth Green, and you had, you know, other guys coming in doing things. Jon Stewart was there at one point, had beef with John Cena or whatever. And it was so horrible in that 2012 area that when they brought in Bad Bunny, and Bad Bunny put on a banger of a match with Damian Priest in Puerto Rico, somebody in the boardroom, probably Triple H, went, we got to monopolize this. We got to find more celebrities who want to do this. And they got that with Logan Paul. Jelly, I think, is just, he lost so much weight. He's been working on himself. I'm a huge Jelly Roll fan. I absolutely adore the man. His music is great. He's lost a lot of weight, and he's in a position now where he's like, hey, if I can just do this as a one-off, it's a dream come true. Teaming him with Randy was kind of weird because they had just released a video of him getting to meet The Rock in person, and apparently they've been real good friends.
Yep, I saw that
for
video.
Years. Yeah, like The Rock sends him bottles of Terramana like once or twice a year. Like they talk daily. They finally got to meet in person. I was like, we haven't had the final boss since Elimination Chamber. Let The Rock come back and do something with his boy Jelly Roll. Well, we got Randy Orton, and I feel like as much as I love Jelly Roll, we're going to see an RKO at the end of this match, and it's probably going to be on my boy Jelly.
You know, to kind of play off what Chris was saying, you typically get two types of celebrity appearances, right? If you look back at the late 80s, early 90s with the Rock and Wrestling Connection, Cyndi Lauper, Muhammad Ali, all these guys coming in. And then, you know, in later years, we got Jeremy Piven confusing SummerSlam for Summerfest. We got Snooki, who, don't get me wrong, threw a pretty mean back spring elbow. I'll give her that much. And then Bad Bunny comes in and throws a bunny destroyer on Damian Priest and blew my mind. And then Logan Paul comes out from day one and looked like a main event superstar on day one in his first match. Let's not forget, Logan had a world title match in Saudi Arabia, his third match in the company.
Yeah.
Against our tribal chief, Roman Reigns.
Logan. After Logan's first match, I'm like, yeah, he's not a celebrity anymore. It just seems like they've done it forever, and they're going to continue to do it. So I guess we enjoy the good ones that we get and just kind of cringe through the bad stuff.
Did any of you guys see the spot they did on Jimmy Fallon with Jelly Roll and Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre and Logan Paul?
I saw clips of it. I didn't see the
Yeah,
whole
Yeah,
thing.
Jelly Roll was hosting the show, and his guest was Randy Orton, and somehow it ended up Logan come out. He smacked the piss out of Jelly Roll, and then Jelly Roll chokeslammed him through the host desk. They're trying to play back to the old days when you had like Jerry Lawler and Andy Kaufman on the TV shows or what have you. It was a pretty decent spot, but I was like, man, this is all.
Yeah, but come on, Drew didn't have to drop the one line about "I'm glad Jelly Roll finally saw his you know what after 2 years."
Yeah.
That's Drew, though. He's money these days. Like, you know, his work on the mic has gotten so much better since the Chosen One days.
I just wish he'd come back with that music.
Broken Dreams.
Yep.
Yes, that would be awesome. Speaking of people who are pretty over right now, at least on the merch side of things, rumor has it that WWE has not offered him a new deal yet, and his contract is coming up in a month or two, and that's Karrion Kross. That man, to me, deserves so much more than he's gotten.
See, I'm kind of torn on Karrion Kross. Like, he's got everything you need to be a main event player, right? He's got the build, he's got the promo, he's got the entrance, he's got the chick, he's got the charisma. He just can't seem to put it all together. And even his last main event pay-per-view match with Sami Zayn seemed clunky to me. Like, I figured they would put on a much better match than what they actually put on. And instead of letting Sammy play the underdog and having Karrion beat the dog mess out of him for 20 minutes and then Sammy pick up the win somehow, they tried to make it look even when you know Karrion could suplex Sami Zayn from post to post and not break a sweat. So maybe they're just not using him right.
I think that's it. I think since his main roster call up all those years ago, and since he left and came back, he just hasn't been utilized well because he was brilliant in NXT.
Yeah.
He was one of my favorites coming out of that black and gold era of NXT.
Yeah, the NXT Karrion Kross would have been a great transition to the main roster if Vince McMahon had left it alone. But Karrion was one of the last NXT stars to come out of the black and gold brand and fell victim to Vince wanting to completely change everything about him. When he debuted on the main roster, he come out looking like War Machine. And if you're not familiar with the War Machine gimmick, it's I want to say it's like an old 80s gimmick that became an independent scene version of like Undertaker or Doink the Clown or whatever. Like this untold dead, I always rise from the depths kind of character. And it didn't fit Karrion Kross. It wasn't. They changed his music. They took Scarlett away. They completely stripped him down and ruined him, just like they did Keith Lee, just like they did Shinsuke Nakamura, hell, just like they did Asuka by making her lose to Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania 34. So
they started off Karrion Kross's main roster debut with a loss to Jeff Hardy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just saying.
That's go ahead.
At that time, Jeff Hardy was still not in the best frame of mind to be in that position, and then putting Jeff Hardy over Karrion Kross like that completely derailed everything Karrion had done to that point.
Yep. I look at this SummerSlam thing to be his kind of like final tryout, if they're going to extend him or not. If he goes out there and tears the house down with Sammy, I think they will re-up. If it's a stinker, then they can just point back to that match and be like, hey, we gave you a chance and you didn't do anything with it. So I hope it's a good match because I like both those guys. I really want Karrion Kross to stick around, and I really want him to make the best of this opportunity. But I think if he fumbles this may be it for him.
Yeah, but let's be honest here. If he does end up leaving WWE, the brass over in AEW will have him in the world title picture within 2 weeks of him being cleared to wrestle again. Like as soon as that 90-day no compete is up, someone will bring him over to AEW and he'll start feuding with Hangman Adam Page or somebody. He'll have Scarlett, and they'll give him the creative control over his gimmick like he wants, and he'll be world champion within 6 months of being in AEW.
I can see that.
Or he goes to TNA and does the same thing and still gets to come back to NXT. Just saying.
You're not wrong.
I know we've talked a lot about the SummerSlam card. I think we should talk about one more thing, and that is your thoughts on the World Championships. Who's walking away with those titles?
Ooh, CJ's big about the world titles. He hates the fact that we have more than one. So we're gonna let CJ start with this one.
You got me. Have me start on it. I think that Cody. I think Cena retains. Yeah, I haven't really thought too much about it, to be honest with you. I think Gunther walks away with the championship. He'll beat CM Punk. It'll be a good match, though.
Yeah, I don't think we see a whole lot of title changes at this SummerSlam, except for maybe some of the undercard titles. I think Becky Lynch will lose the IC title to Lyra Valkyria. I think they took it off of her just to kind of mix it up a little bit. I think her being the first IC champion was supposed to be in the books. I think we'll see new tag team champions. I don't know if Jacob will take the U.S. title back. I think we'll see a return of Tama Tonga, and that'll fully cement Solo's bloodline. But I think as far as the world titles go, I think Gunther is going to retain. And if I'm jumping the gun and you guys are going to want to talk about this later, I'm sorry. But if the rumors of Seth Rollins' injury being fake just so he can cash in at SummerSlam is true, Seth will walk out as the World Heavyweight Champion. But Cena's not dropping to Cody Rhodes. I don't think Cena drops until December.
Chris, you read my mind. I think you could see the wheels in my head turning. I don't think Seth's injury is real. I think it's
I don't either. I don't either.
They've been too quiet about it lately. Think about it. There's not been a single dirt sheet report that Seth has had any kind of surgery. WWE's not providing updates during their shows about it. The websites are not saying anything. This is a complete work, dude. If CM Punk wins this match, Seth cashes in.
I think Seth cashes in either way, though, because it's too coincidental that the Monday after Seth's injury, they're live from the BJCC down here in Birmingham, Alabama, which is also where Dr. James Andrews has his office. Everybody knows that sports injuries come straight here to Birmingham, Alabama. And I'm telling you, these sports fans down here will do everything they can to catch pictures of superstars. It don't matter if they're broken, bleeding, or dying. If you're in Birmingham to see one of our doctors, somebody's trying to get you paparazzi style. And nothing's come up about Seth.
I mean, Chad Gable had shoulder surgery, and 10 minutes later, his picture was on Facebook.
Yep.
With his shoulder wrapped up. And then they put Kaiser in as El Grande Americano.
Andy got over.
Facts.
In the words of CJ, it's the damnedest thing. They put a German in a gimmick making fun of a Mexican wrestler.
Love it.
That a white guy is running.
Yep.
It makes
and the crowd is loving it.
That is wrestling. Now they can have a match against each other on who the real Grande Americano is in the future. Can't wait.
They tried this with Sin Cara, and it did not.
A mask versus mask match between both El Grande Americanos.
Yeah, exactly.
Can we just get a third one to come in and ruin the match so we never see?
Yes.
What is this, Doink and Dink the Clown? I mean, come on. What is this, WrestleMania 9? Steve Kern comes out as Doink the Clown so he can take his place?
That's the You bring back Ted DiBiase and do the cloning storyline again. That's what you do. So
I have the real Undertaker.
There we go. Oh, man. Gentlemen, we're going to take a quick pause. We have our contractually obligated promotion for the Toys for Tots Fantasy Football League. We're going to come back right after the break. We've got a special message from one of our friends here. So we'll be right back in just a minute here, okay?
Awesome.
Football season is just around the corner, and once again, For Fantasy's Sake is running its annual Toys for Tots Fantasy Football Leagues. Don't miss your chance to be crowned the best fantasy football player in the Quad Cities. The For Fantasy's Sake Toys for Tots Bowl is loaded with great prizes and even better local celebrity participants, ranging from professional athletes and news personalities to your favorite FFSQC personalities. To sign up, just visit For Frequency's Sake on Facebook or Twitter and follow the links.
So Boss of the Plains, the One Call Man, is the WXW Unified World Wrestling Champion. And you're listening to Card Subject to Change. Happy 3-year anniversary. Cheers to you.
Hey everybody, this is Augustus Draven here to wish a very happy 3rd anniversary to the Card Subject to Change podcast. Nick Bull and the Wizard CZ, a couple of very good brothers. I myself, as well as all of the independent wrestling performers and independent wrestling promotions, are very lucky to have you here giving. This is Augustus Draven here to wish a.
Okay, so I don't know that video played. I tried to play it.
Yeah, it was playing.
Yeah, it was fine.
I just had a blank screen on my end, so I am sorry if I ended it earlier. But thank you to Augustus Draven. Hopefully, I don't know how far into it we got, and I feel bad that I ended it. But like I said, I'm just seeing black on my screen when I had that up. So I don't know.
It went through, but yeah, happy anniversary, guys. Congrats.
Thank you.
That being said, I know you boys are a little out of the way here. You wouldn't be able to make it, but join us this coming Thursday at Kavanaugh's Hilltop Bar and Grill in Rock Island. We'll be celebrating our 3rd birthday. It'll be a day early. We've got a live broadcast, prizes, fun, entertainment, and I'm going to push Nick's face through a cupcake. I'm going to do it.
What the hell? Entertainment. What the hell's the entertainment?
That's you.
I think it's your face going through the cupcake, man.
You said and entertainment. I'm like, who are you bringing in for this?
Stay tuned. No, no, I'm bringing the scissors to my steak. So.
There you go.
So I just want to say real quick, we tried the clone thing multiple times, right? We had Taker versus Taker. Did not work. That was also at SummerSlam. They tried to do Kane versus Kane. That didn't work because they put Festus under the mask. We've tried it with Sin Cara. That didn't work. I've not seen it work yet, CJ.
yeah, but they've never used El Grande Americano before.
We know El Grande Americano is the greatest luchador in the history.
Ever.
I'm so bummed Chad Gable got hurt. That might be the injury that really pissed me off. I felt bad for Liv Morgan, and that thing was going to start to take off. But that storyline's still going to be good even with her gone.
Yeah, they've done a good job of keeping that animosity with Roxanne Perez joining Judgment Day and still including her name and all that. Chad, though, that injury, I hope it doesn't derail the momentum that he was gaining as doing the El Grande Americano and his normal stuff. I feel like Chad Gable's the kind of guy who could easily be the next face of the company if he gets the right push.
Oh, he's that good. Yeah. Everything he's done turns to gold. Like everything they give him is gold. And maybe when he comes back, when the crowd comes back and knows that it's him and he's back as El Grande Americano, then maybe it makes him face. I don't know, because he takes out the imposter. I don't know, but I'm looking. looking forward to that, and I'm bummed that he got hurt. That's probably the injury that happened that that bummed me out the most. But we got our discussion topic. CZ says we need to come up with a discussion topic for our guests, and I'm like, what? Well, what do you mean? Show prep? What? No. And I'm like, you know what? We foster a pretty healthy and friendly environment here. I said, you know what? Let's talk about the things we hate in pro wrestling.
Ooh.
It could be anything with how something's presented. It could be anything with a particular match. It could be anything with a particular feud, anything with a particular wrestler, a move, anything that's done that you hate in wrestling.
Well, let me just throw a disclaimer here. This is a Rejects podcast disclaimer. My co-hosts will gladly tell you that when we talk about things we hate, Chris Rage comes out, and I usually cut a shoot promo on whatever it is we're talking about. I've done it on Dave Meltzer. I've done it on the IWC. It gets pretty wild, but when CJ puts his finger to his mouth like this, he's ready to go. So CJ, tell us what you hate, my guy.
So I mentioned it earlier in this podcast. I absolutely hate the sheer amount of cutaways in the WWE's matches. I feel like the camera angles change way too much. I understand it's to kind of keep kayfabe alive and kind of to take some of it away, but I absolutely hate it. I can't get invested in the match when it's constantly, flickering and flashing all over the place. I hate the lack of true heel managers now. I used to love heel managers, and I love the fact that they were the ones that were able to get over a good wrestler that may not have been good on the mic. And you had the Heenan family, you had these stables of wrestlers, and I've always liked wrestling better with stables, but with that clear non-wrestling entity. That's the thing I hate about the current product is that we don't have good managers anymore. And I hate commentators that try to get themselves over. I prefer the commentators getting the talent over, and that's it's not as bad as it was. But like when Jesse Ventura was an announcer, he was really bad about at the expense of the wrestlers. He wasn't trying to get them over. He's making fun of them and not building them up. And I think in order for wrestling to be great, everything has to be a well-oiled machine. And I think that you have to constantly try to get over the talent. In every promo and every interview, that's the whole purpose is to either get them over or to get heat.
Unless that Jesse Ventura thing is part of their gimmick, like it was for Bobby Heenan when he was on commentary, because Bobby Heenan would make fun of any and everybody.
Only the faces. He would only make fun of the faces. And
Stu Hart predominantly.
But he had such good chemistry with Gino Morella that's why is that he was able to. They played off each other so well because he was a heel commentator, again with a face commentator, and that's a really good dynamic when you have a good guy and a bad guy commentator.
Yeah, we haven't had that in a while. I mean, we had that with JR and Jerry Lawler for a lot of the early years of them commentating. It wasn't until later on when they started incorporating JR into some of the storylines and King trying to step up for him that they started backing away from that heel face commentator team. But yeah, I absolutely agree with CJ. When you had heel commentators, let them run down the baby faces. Let them. Bobby Heenan was the GOAT, in my opinion, as far as commentators and managers being that consummate heel.
I'm going to piggyback off the manager thing for a minute because there are two that stand out, three that stand out now that are in the current product. That's Stokely Hathaway, Don Callis, and Paul Heyman. For me, if you're going to pair a manager with someone, you want them to be not so great on the mic so that the manager can lift them up to a higher level. I'll be honest, I'm enjoying the ride with this whole Seth Rollins group, but Seth Rollins does not need Paul Heyman in any way, shape, or form.
No.
When I think of a good manager, I kind of drift back to the 80s when you had Jim Cornette with the Midnight Express. You had Bobby Heenan. Cornette was with multiple stables he was the American spokesperson for Yokozuna, and Yoko spoke English.
No, with this, Jesse, it wasn't even Japanese.
Stop breaking kayfabe, man. You're telling me the Samoan was playing a Japanese sumo wrestler? Come on.
The next thing he's going to tell me is that Razor Ramon wasn't Cuban. Huh.
What? What?
Whoa, whoa, whoa!
Wait, Diesel, Kevin Nash wasn't actually a wizard?
Well, CZ, you want to elaborate?
I have it on good authority. He was not actually a wizard.
Oh.
That's not good.
No, I get what you guys are
problem-
saying. With
Go
the,
ahead.
it's a dying art. Like the good heel managers, we were spoiled coming up. Cornette.
That's a product of territory wrestling, though. That's because they had their syndicated television show, and they had to sell the live shows like a circus, right? They had to sell it to get butts in the seats for the live shows, and they would cut all these promos, and the managers wouldn't really travel to all the house shows. They would just do TVs a lot of times. So I think when the territories went away, that stopped being as useful. Like they couldn't pay that individual anymore because they had to pay talent instead.
Yeah, and that's why we call him the historian, because he always drops those keen facts about the old days. But like nowadays, workers are so good at being able to sell themselves. There's no need for a manager. I take Swerve Strickland, okay? The guy's a local talent. I've seen him in person on the indies before he hit it big with AEW. I actually wrestled for years with a guy named Sean Hoodrich, who put on an absolute clinic with Swerve Strickland up in Tennessee at a it was NGW versus something. It was real. It might have been GCW, but either way, Swerve Strickland, when he got Prince Nana in NXT, and Prince Nana, their babyface, what have you, Nana only does the one thing, and that's the hype guy. He comes out and does the dancing and all that good jazz. That's all he needs to do. But Don Callis is a guy that most wrestling fans hate just because he's got a stupid face and his voice is annoying. It's like, you're not a good heel manager. The Don Callis family, there's no buying that, because anybody in the Don Callis family can probably get themselves over except Takashita, because he doesn't speak very good English. Stokely Hathaway, I consider him a failed WWE deal because he was in WWE and couldn't cut it as a manager. Paul Heyman is the GOAT of all GOATs when it comes to being a manager, period. Look what he did with Brock Lesnar for over 15, 20, almost 20 years. As the advocate for the Beast, he was the mouthpiece. He carried the things that Jim Cornette did with the Midnight Express, what Bobby Heenan did with the Heenan family, what any other heel manager did with a superstar who could not talk. Paul Bearer was the one who started it for guys who didn't talk. He did it with The Undertaker for so many years in the early 90s. But Paul Heyman's mind for the business, you put him in the bloodline. You made him the wise man. Roman didn't have to cut a promo, but Roman could cut a promo as the tribal chief. The big dog was horrible. We didn't want to hear him on the mic. But the tribal chief knew how to piss you off. He was egotistical. He knew how to cut a promo. Paul Heyman, ladies and gentlemen, my name, he's got the whole crowd behind him. That's what everybody's missing these days. They don't have a way to pull the crowd in once they open their mouths, except the superstars. It's a lost art these days.
You know, and let's not forget, as far as Taker is concerned, his first manager was actually Brother Love.
We don't talk about that.
We don't talk about it. But, and that's why we don't talk about it, because it wasn't that good.
Look, I love Bruce Pritchard. I love what he did for the business. Brother Love was absolutely horrible. He had his little show, I love you. We forget purposely that he was the one that had Taker first. No, sir. We don't talk about that.
Just
let me ask you guys' opinion on this. Is it possible at some point in time that we could see a resurgence of managers, of good heel managers? if someone's built up right, is it possible that we could see some comeback in the future? Or is that a thing of the past?
Man,
Unfortunately, I think it's a thing of the past. I don't necessarily seeing it make a big comeback. Not to say that certain groups won't have them, but outside of Paul Heyman and WWE, who else could you bring in that would be believable in that role?
yeah, that's
fair.
one of the things when I trained wrestlers, later on in my career was I preached to them that they had to find a way to sell themselves, because you're never going to get over with any crowd base, any fan base whatsoever, if you don't sell yourself. And selling yourself isn't just being able to get on the mic and be able to cut a good promo. Your gear's got to be on point. You've got to invest in yourself. Buy merch that you can turn around and sell. Buy the good gear. Make sure your boots aren't falling apart. Make sure your kick pads are not being held together with electrical tape. I'm a victim of that. I did it for years. But I don't know if we'll ever see that unless we get that gimmick that needs a mouthpiece. Kamala couldn't talk. Taker didn't talk for years. Kane couldn't talk. And CJ knows more about those heel managers and those managers period back in the day. CJ, what do you think, man?
I don't think it comes back, mainly because, like I said, a lot of times your good managers were actually, they were office. They worked for the promotion. So as these journeyman wrestlers would go territory to territory, they didn't necessarily learn how to, pull in the crowds. But you have these managers, I think Continental did a great job with it, like the Jarrett territory. They would come in and they would just hype up the next big thing to go against the King. And they would just hype the match like that. So you didn't really, the wrestling business today doesn't need the mouthpiece managers like it used to. It's something that we'll remember and something that we loved, but it's not something that is affordable to bring back. There's no reason. How are you going to make it in the business as a manager today? No one's hiring the next bad, awesome manager because they're too busy looking for the next awesome talent.
Right.
Absolutely. Chris, if I can piggyback off of something you said, talking about, teaching the younger generation to promote themselves, to bring themselves up. This is something that I feel strongly about. It's something that I don't think happens enough, and I hate that it doesn't happen enough. I wish more indie talent would utilize social media in ways that it can be, because there can be so much more. And I don't see, I'll see local talent here, cutting promos on Facebook, on Instagram, but it's only one or two or a handful of people who go out and do that. Are you telling people to utilize social media? Is that something you're incorporating when you're teaching the new kids?
So that the last training class I had was back in 2009. Social media was still in its early stages, but we did utilize it a lot to promote our shows. The fact that we now have TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat, all different kinds of streaming platforms for these superstars or these wrestlers to utilize to get themselves over, it is beneficial. But a lot of guys, they lose themselves in their own personal lives that they forget to do that. You can cut a promo video for a show and it takes you less than 30 seconds if you do it right in one take. It could take you 10 minutes to do 3 or 4 takes before you get your promo right. It's a lost art being able to go on the fly. That's why WWE has writers, they have producers, they have agents. Most guys will work for days on end before their live match goes, where the indies, the 5 of us be sitting in a locker room and I got a match with Nick and he looks at me and goes, "Hey, what do you want to do tonight?" I'm going to look at him and say, "What's the finish?" Well, the promoter said you're going to hit me with the RKO. All right, I'll see you out there. I'll call it as we go. That's going on the fly. If he trusts me enough to carry him through the match, all he's got to do is make sure them ears are open. We're gonna have a 6-star Dave Meltzer match. By the way, F Uncle Dave, we don't like him. But But too many guys rely on doing things. All right, so listen, CZ, you and me are wrestling tonight. We're going to get in the ring. We're going to lock up. I'm going to take the headlock. You're going to shoot me off. I'm going to take a drop down. You're going to cross over. And then I'm going to get up, give you a hip toss, arm drag, body slam. You're going to powder out and start bitching at the crowd. And that's just the first minute of the match. We can't do that these days. And these guys need to know that they can do that with social media. I can pick up my phone and say, CZ, last week during the main event, you interfered in my match. You cost me the world title. Next week, when I hit the ring and my entrance music is done playing, you better make your way out and face me like a man because you deserve the beating that's coming to you, sir. That's all I need to do to get over as the guy who's going to beat you up next week.
So as far as social media presence is concerned, I got 2 words: Zack Ryder.
Woo, woo, woo.
Yep.
Yeah.
Zack Ryder is a self-made social media megastar.
Yep.
Well, Matt Cardona now, if you know,
Yep.
you know. I'm waiting on him to come back to WWE as Matt Cardona. I want to hear the entrance music start off with the woo 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 and then the record scratch and his actual music starts playing. The fact that his wife is in WWE and he is not, they could do a lot of things with that pairing. Just saying.
Yeah.
I don't
I
like
think
Chelsea
they're
Green.
waiting. They're waiting.
I don't like Chelsea Green. That's one of the things I don't like in wrestling right now, but her gimmick and everything she's doing is on point.
Can we boo that man?
Yeah, boo him.
Boo that man. Chelsea Green is
I was gonna ask, Jesse, since we asked CJ, what do you hate in wrestling? But I guess it's Chelsea Green. And I'm like,
I hate overselling in matches, period. Unless it's Shawn versus Hogan at SummerSlam 2000, whatever that was, when Shawn Michaels oversold everything. I mean,
so you hate overselling. What's a recent? Give me a recent example, because I think we know the Hogan HBK.
do you remember the spot where Batista got pushed off the ring or back into the ring by Mark Henry and he flopped backwards to sell it?
Oh, yeah, that was like 2013, 2014.
Yeah, that's the kind of shit I'm talking about, where it's so blatantly obvious that you're trying to oversell that particular situation. A lot of people, it's kind of hard to qualify an oversell these days because everybody's kind of selling as much as possible to get everything over. But there's also a case to be made for underselling. If you start no selling in a match for no reason, unless you're Gunther, like when they had Goldberg no sell the chops from Gunther a couple of weeks ago, that kind of irritated me a little bit.
It pissed me off.
But it's Goldberg. And I hate to say that. I really do. But even at 53 years old, Goldberg no-selling a chop was the best thing I got out of that match. If Goldberg no-sold a big boot or a sleeper hold or a power bomb that Gunther did, I'd have been mad. But a chop from Gunther is like, I can handle that. Like, I've seen Goldberg sell a chop from Ric Flair and no sell a chop from Hogan. That makes sense.
But we've all seen how devastating Gunther's chops are in his matches. I've seen him knock people off their damn feet. Like, I love it when he knocks Dom off his feet with a chop. It's great because Dom sells it just right.
He does.
Look, CM Punk tapped out at a live show after taking a chop. So,
yeah, and that.
Jesse, let me ask your opinion on this. Talking about overselling, Austin Theory and his sell of the stunner.
No.
Too much?
So we've seen different people try to sell that stunner. We've seen what Scott Hall did at WrestleMania 17 with the camera angles. We've seen what The Rock's done with the stunner. I liked how high Austin Theory sprung on that, to be completely honest. I thought it was I thought he did it to be kind of funny. I don't think he was doing it to dramatically oversell. I think he was just being comedic at that point. It's kind of like R-Truth running out in the Royal Rumble with a ladder and trying to climb up it to get the Money in the Bank, and then realizing he's not even in the match.
I gotta ask you guys though, because you brought up Stone Cold, and if you've noticed, that's my guy. Do you guys know what the greatest sell of the Stone Cold Stunner was in history?
Ooh, there's so many good ones. I'm interested to hear what your thoughts are, though.
Nope. Vince is the worst. The greatest sell of the Stone Cold Stunner in history was Santino Marella. When Santino stomped on the Condemned DVD and then he got a stunner, as he jumped up to sell, he saluted and took the bump.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, look, we could say The Rock did it the best because every time The Rock took a stunner from Stone Cold in their trilogy, he did an extra little flip or bump. But the way Santino, listen, Stone Cold, that's Steve Austin. And then he took the stunner, jumped up, and saluted as he took his bump. Greatest sell of all time.
I mean, you got different guys who, okay, like Ric Flair when he does the over-the-top rope flip and then he runs back in. That's not necessarily overselling, but that's part of his gimmick now, or it was when he could do it. Santino and Mick Foley doing Socko versus the Cobra. Yeah, okay, that was gimmicky as hell, but it was funny. Shawn overselling to Hogan when he hit him with the leg with the big boot, and Shawn spun like 6 times and then flopped. Triple H's oversell where he got hit with the boot in the corner and he kind of hesitated a little bit and he took a step and he flopped. Like, don't get me wrong, some of that stuff is for comedic effect, but some guys take it too far. Now, some guys no sell to the point where it ruins the entire match, i.e. Lex Luger climbing over the cage at Starrcade to get away from the fight. I think it was Luger back in the early days.
You mean like Strickland and Ospreay versus the Young Bucks at this past All In? Yeah.
Pretty much most AEW matches.
That's another thing I hate in professional wrestling is AEW. Just in general.
You buried the lead here. All right, what do you hate about them?
Me and Chris have had this conversation many times. I think there's too many spots just for the sake of spots. There's not a lot of storytelling involved in it. You know, when Jeff Hardy would hit a swanton off a 20-foot ladder in a TLC match, there was a story behind it. If Jeff Hardy hits a swanton off of a 20-foot ladder in AEW, it's because they want to relive 20 years ago when it worked for WWE. You know, Swerve taking a needle through the tongue made absolutely no sense to me. That was just
cheek.
My favorite quote of all time when it comes to hardcore wrestling like that comes from Jim Cornette. I can hit an MFer with a baseball bat as hard as I want to, but that don't make me Ric Flair.
Yeah, our issue with AEW is, and you know, this is tapping into my area of expertise being in the business, is the fans of AEW are what we call spot junkies. They want the "This is awesome" chant from the opening bell to the final, with 15 to 20 finishers hit in a matter of 3 minutes, a bunch of no-selling from Canadian Destroyers, a super kick party like the Young Bucks are famous for doing, just for the dramatic pop. That's what 90% of their matches are. The greatest thing about AEW is probably Toni Storm's gimmick.
Yep.
Yes. Because Timeless Toni Storm is able to do, even though some of her promos are a little X-rated over the top, it works for Toni Storm because it's something we've never seen before. But when you've got 4 guys who get in the ring, and like I said, Ospreay versus Strickland versus the Young Bucks, I watched the spot and it was put on TikTok, and the guy who posted it on TikTok said the greatest spot in professional wrestling history. And it was 6 super kicks or 4 super kicks that led to 2 Canadian Destroyers that were no sold. And then Strickland and Ospreay delivered both of their finishers, the house party and the back elbow that Ospreay does. as all 4 men laid there, and it wasn't even the finish of the match. That is our biggest pet peeve with AEW is there's so many kickouts of finishers that make no sense. When you see it in WWE, yes, they do the same thing on occasion. But if Gunther power bombs Jey Uso in the middle of a match and doesn't pin him right away, Jey should be expected to kick out. He has time to recover. He has time to fight back. He has time to collect his thoughts. It's not like Gunther picks up Jey Uso and power bombs him 7 times in a row, taunts the crowd for 2 seconds, and Jey kicks out at 1. It's not like Roman Reigns hits the Superman punch, then hits a spear and covers, Charles Robinson, and Charles Robinson kicks out because he's the GOAT of referees. Like, everything WWE does, in a sense, makes sense. Everything AEW does makes no sense whatsoever. There's no storylines. There's no rhyme or reason for anything that they do.
So I think a lot of that has to do, Chris, is they give the talent a lot more creative control in AEW. And this is a chief example of the talent not being able to get themselves over. These guys when they were doing WWE, they thought they had all the right ideas and just weren't getting TV time or the right push. Then they go over to AEW and they have that freedom, they have that control, and they still suck.
Yep.
You know, I look back at, Chris talking about the finisher thing. The only time WWE has really done that where a wrestler kick out of multiple finishes like that where they got ragdolled around was when Brock Lesnar suplexed John Cena like 18 times in one match and Cena kept kicking out.
It
wasn't until like number 20 where Cena was like, you know what, I'm going to take the pinfall on this one. And I'll give Cena credit. Anybody who can take that many suplexes from Brock Lesnar back to back to back to back to back like that. So that's a pretty stout dude. I'm not gonna lie.
And you guys talk about your love for Dave Meltzer, for Uncle Dave. I just want to point out something that Nick and I have gone over and over talking about. Will Ospreay has 900,000 5-star matches. Kurt Angle has none.
Exactly, and that's my problem with Dave Meltzer. You look at a match like Kurt Angle versus Eddie Guerrero from WrestleMania, where Eddie takes off the boot mid-match. That should have been a 5-star match. It doesn't get it. You look at some of the early matches with Kurt Angle and The Rock back in the early 2000s. Some of those should have been 5-star matches. They're not getting them, but then you put Ricochet and Will Ospreay in the ring together, and suddenly Uncle Dave's getting lotion and tissues out because it's the greatest thing he's ever seen, and now it's a 10-star match.
Lotion, tissues, and a smoke. CZ. No, go ahead.
No. This, and I was going to jump into what I hate about wrestling, and it's my disdain is the IWC, and that includes Uncle Dave. You've got too many armchair bookers who sit here and tell you what they want to see in professional wrestling and have never even laced up a pair of boots in a day in their life. We all do what we do because we love the business. You guys started a podcast because you're wrestling fans. So did we. We can give our opinions all day long, but a lot of the people in the IWC expect their opinions to be taken seriously by Triple H. Like, they expect Triple H to see their tweet and go, hey, that guy's right. Let me change everything that I just worked 6 months to do. And yet they wouldn't know how to get over if you put them on the main event of fucking WrestleMania. Excuse my language. The IWC tries to hijack professional wrestling, and the Cody Crybabies from WrestleMania 40 are my biggest example of why nobody should listen to the fan base, because they really don't know what they want. We got the biggest cluster ever at WrestleMania 40, and Cody Rhodes finished his story. You know what it did? Absolutely nothing. It did nothing for Cody Rhodes' gimmick. It did nothing for Roman Reigns' storyline going forward. All it did was say that Cody Rhodes was the first in the Rhodes family to officially be WWE champion. That's it. And it was only because the Cody Crybabies found out that The Rock was coming back to have the match that they originally said they wanted. They wanted Roman Reigns versus The Rock for head of the table. The Bloodline storyline is the biggest storyline we've ever gotten in professional wrestling. It has captivated all of us since Roman Reigns returned at SummerSlam 2019 or 2020 COVID era, whatever. And they were like, well, wait a minute. Cody won the Royal Rumble. He should face Roman. He doesn't have to. There was another world championship that he could have went for. You just want him to finish the story. Well, guess what? We got Undertaker coming back that made no sense. We got the final boss that makes no sense. And Cody Rhodes finished the story all for nothing because he ended up dropping the title to who? John Cena. Because we finally got what we've wanted for 25 years is a John Cena heel turn. The IWC needs to sit back and just watch the product and stop running their mouths about it. We are like consummate professionals. We have podcasts. We're delivering our opinions to the masses. But I highly doubt that the two of you are ever getting on your show going, this is how it should be. This is what WWE should do. You're starting your sentences with, I think they should do this, or it might work if they did this. Everybody else in the IWC thinks that their opinion is gold and Triple H should work for them.
And let's not forget the IWC wholeheartedly believes they are the reason for the return of R-Truth.
Right.
That's just
What's up?
Playing the game. That is Hunter playing the game. He's letting everybody think they're the reason, even though Truth probably re-signed back in January.
Yeah.
CZ, what do you hate?
I think you know the answer to that, Nick.
We don't, though. Tell us.
I'm going to get on my high horse. So let me ask you this. Single competitors, triple threat, fatal four-way. How many people are competing at the same time?
3 or 4.
Are they all in the ring at the same time? Or not necessarily, are they all in action at the same time, I should say?
With a triple threat, usually not. There's usually one that is overselling on the outside so 2 guys can have their spots.
Fair enough. But they're all an active part of the match.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about the tag teams. I think it is absolutely ridiculous that 4 tag teams can have a fatal 4-way match and only 2 motherfuckers, excuse my language, are in the ring. Why would you tag anyone but your partner?
That's what I was going to say. They can tag anybody in the match if they want to, and they always end up tagging their own tag partner.
Yeah. You got a point.
You got 2 teams that are sitting with their thumbs up their butts doing absolutely nothing while the other 2 teams are going at it. It's ridiculous. All 4 teams should be representative in a match like that. If you do it with a fatal 4-way in the singles, you should do it with the tags.
I agree with you 100%. That makes the most sense. I've been in several fatal 4-ways in tag teams because the later part of my career, I was just too tired to do singles matches, so I formed tag teams and just stayed that way. But it would be annoying as I'm standing there. Me and my partner would just be talking about something we saw on TV the night before, like, you know, hey, did you catch that episode of CSI last night? Oh, yeah, it was pretty good. Oh, wait, hold on. This is our spot. I'll be right back.
It's ridiculous. I don't understand. It blows my mind that this is a thing. You know, and I'll say to an extent the same thing for like a scramble match where there's 5 or 6 people, 4 of them are on 3 to 4 of them are on corners. The only exception I'll make with that is if it's like similar to Lucha rules where if someone goes out of the ring, someone else can come in. But why would you tag out in a match like that? There's no point. I cannot suspend my disbelief enough that I can believe these 2 tag teams are sitting on their ass doing nothing and don't want in that ring and don't think they should be in that ring doing something.
You want to talk about suspension of belief. For the longest time, that was my outlook on the Royal Rumble matches. Like, I had every reason to believe that these matches were incredibly hard to produce, to plan out, to actually go into action in the ring. And that whole illusion got shattered by Jake Roberts a few years ago at a convention I went to, when I asked him what it was like being in that match. And he looked at me and he goes, "You want to know what it was like, kid? It sucks. Because you run to the ring full blast, you're blown up in 5 minutes, you're swinging at anything and everything that moves, and then all you really got to do is watch for the person before you to get eliminated, and you know you're supposed to go next." And I'm like, "Well, gee, Jakes, thanks for, ruining that illusion." Way to keep kayfabe alive, Jake.
I'm glad you talked about the Rumble, because I always think about, I don't know what episode it was, but Conrad and Pritchard talking about a Rumble match. Conrad just sitting there doing commentary on their episode. Forearm, 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 elimination, forearm.
Yes, that's pretty much how it goes. I mean, you watch some of the old Rumbles, and it's almost word for word what Jake said. Tito Santana runs full blast into the ring. He fights about 7 dudes at one time, and then he gets eliminated by Max Moon, and they move to the next spot.
I don't care. Royal Rumble is still my favorite match to watch every year. That is still my favorite match.
Absolutely. For the surprise entrances, the returns, the nostalgia pops, whatever. I will admit Trish Stratus returning over and over and over again lately is kind of getting old, but it is what it is.
Nick, I think it's your turn.
Tell him what I hate the most.
Texas.
No, that's second.
No, that's second.
CJ said, "Wait a minute now."
He said, "Wait, Texas? What did Texas do
Texas
wrong?"
The state.
No. Then you pull the Band-Aid off, Nick.
I'm sick and tired of wrestlers jumping through the ropes.
Yes.
So overdone. It's so dumb. Most of them get caught up on the ropes. If you can jump over, that's fine. But if you jump through, you're done. I hate it. You're disqualified. I hate it. I hate it. It's stupid.
Promoter Nick has this rule. If he's booking a show and promoting a show, if you go through those ropes, not only are you disqualified and the match is over, you get a $10,000 fine.
Damn.
I hate it. It's done so much. It's almost done more than the super kick. Because, before it was the small guys doing it. Now everybody does it, right? Texas death matches are 2. Okay. I hate them. I hate them.
Okay. I need elaboration on the Texas part.
No, I love Texas. I've been there and I enjoyed the visit. I hate the Texas death match. AEW pulls it out about every 3 weeks. I hate it. That match with Moxley and Hangman was not a match. That was dumb. And 3, I'm going to say 3. Oh, intergender wrestling. I hate it. Stupid. I'm not suspending disbelief that much. Only exceptions are your Chynas, your Rheas, your Ronda Rouseys, your legit tough women who have proven it. Otherwise, I hate intergender matches. Hate them. They're dumb.
Speaking of the intergender thing, when Beth Phoenix eliminated the Great Khali from the Royal Rumble by making out with him. Yeah, but she eliminated him by making out with him. She didn't legitimately throw him over. She just grabbed him and kissed him.
WWE where anything is possible by any means necessary.
But how else is a woman who's 5'6" pulling out a 7-foot man? You get him to bend over the ropes to kiss you, and then you just pull him down. It's that that made sense. But at the same time, I'm thinking, Beth, your taste in men is horrible, because
she likes really strong jaws.
She does, because Edge has got that.
Yeah, he has a thick end.
Khali's chin, I think you could tee it up and kick a football off it.
Yeah. Edge is the same way.
He's huge. His jawline is His skull is huge.
If I'm Edge, I never go anywhere without the Tony Chimmel entrance, though.
Oh,
Like everywhere I go, when I walk in the room, I want to hear the Rated R Superstar.
I mean, if you're Edge, that's your ringtone, right?
Absolutely.
It would be mine. It would be mine. No, I just don't like. I don't like the intergender because I at some point there's going to be a spot where this tiny girl is going to. I'm supposed to believe that she could take out some 6'6" guy that weighs 320 pounds, and no, I can't suspend disbelief that much.
Yeah, I get that.
You guys remember when the Good Brothers had a feud with Judgment Day in their early conception, and Rhea body slammed Luke Gallows on the outside? I love Rhea to death. I think Rhea, if they ever allowed a female to wrestle for any men's titles, Rhea could do it. But she struggled body slamming Luke Gallows on the outside. And even though she pulled it off, it was like, maybe mommy's not as strong as I thought, because there are times where she struggles just to, lift Raquel or lift Nia. It's not like she's in there with Io or Roxanne or Asuka or Becky or whatever, where it looks easy. I was like, maybe we don't need to have Rhea do this, because now we're going to look at Rhea a little bit differently.
The last house show that Chris and I went to, I think Chris missed this, but I was on the aisleway when this happened. There was a match between the Wyatt Six and American Made.
Yep.
And American Made lost that match, and Ivy Nile carried Julius Creed up the rampway, and then she dropped him. And I laughed very hard, probably audibly hard enough for them to hear me laughing. And at that point, I was, when she was first carrying, I was like, damn, she might actually legit be that strong. And then she struggled and she dropped him. And I was like, okay, maybe not.
Right.
Goodbye.
Did CZ have a run in there?
Yeah, one of the cats was in the closet, and I didn't realize it, and he finally decided it's time to come out, so I'm going to be out the door until I'm let out of the room.
I thought he's walking away from the show, fellas. He was going into business. CZ goes into business for himself. What are you doing, bud? I'm here.
I brought up Ivy Nile, and he just had enough and was like, screw this, I'm out, show's over.
Damn it, I'm sick and tired of hearing about Ivy Nile. No. But I mean, I like everything you guys mentioned. Yeah, I don't like, the problem with the IWC, the lack of heel managers, the lack of doing something for no reason or not having a reason to do it. I can agree with everything that was said here. Like, I think those are all strong points of things that we don't like. And I think it's things that, God, why can't they change them? Because it's just, to me, it just gets worse and worse.
Yeah, I think that's one of those things that we're never going to get away from as far as professional wrestling goes. Professional wrestling is going to outlive us, okay? Professional wrestling has outlived our parents, our grandparents. The form of wrestling has been around for centuries. If you go all the way back to ancient Greece with the Greco-Roman wrestling that they did during the games back then. But we're always, as human beings, we're always going to have issues with anything. We're going to have issues with how things are presented to us or what we see, whether it's professional wrestling, whether it's sports, whether it's movies, whether it's TV. I just feel like it gives us something to gather around and talk about.
For sure.
Yeah, look at this episode of our show. We've been here for an hour and a half just talking wrestling, and I love it.
Yammering about wrestling. That's what it's all about. So.
Yes, sir.
As we start to wrap things up, speaking about shows, tell us where, for those who don't know, where can we find you guys across the board so we can watch your programming?
Yeah, so we are live every Sunday when we are not busy with our hectic, crazy lives. The summertime is hard for us. CJ's boys travel to Texas a lot, so he's in and out of town. Jesse has a lot of auditions for local voice talent things. I don't know. A lot of things can't keep us from going live every week. But Facebook, the Rejects Facebook page, we go live every Sunday, 1 o'clock Eastern, Central Time, not Eastern. And then we can be found on Spotify, Apple, Amazon. We go live on YouTube as well. We're trying to get some traction on our YouTube channel. But all of our handles, we are the Rejects 256. We have a link tree that Jesse has pinned to the top of our Facebook page, so it can be clicked on, and all of everything that he does and sends us to is all in the link tree. So most Sundays live 1 p.m. Central Time. That's when the Rejects are running their mouths for usually an hour and a half, but we end up going over 9 times out of 20.
Yeah. and occasionally we'll have the sporadic episode during the week because of everything going on in our lives. We'll have to do the episodes at different times of days, usually on a Tuesday. But like Chris said, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, we're all over the place.
Well, gentlemen, before we wrap things up, we have a little business to take care of on our end. Just want to promote our show. Before I do that, want to thank you guys for coming on. This has been a blast. Excuse me. Had a lot of fun talking with you guys, and I hope we get to do this again because I think this is a fun show.
Yeah, next time we'll have to get both of you guys on the Rejects with us. As long as Nick is not too busy on a Sunday afternoon, we would love to have you guys join us over there. And
I think we could pull something off for sure, man.
Absolutely.
Just make sure it's not after August. What is it? 31st that Alabama and Florida State play.
No, yeah. The game's going to be closer than you think. I'm not saying they're going to win, but it's going to be closer than you think.
Your quarterback's running his mouth a whole lot.
Jesse, calm down. This isn't cover 2. We're not doing football yet. Relax.
That is in the works, by the way. We are bringing that back.
No, but we would definitely love to have you guys join us. And on behalf of myself and my co-host, we thank you guys for having us on. It has been an absolute blast. So, again, thank you guys.
We love having you. You guys are welcome back, and we'll definitely do a show here down the road for sure.
Absolutely.
As far as our content here, this is the Card Subject to Change podcast, the podcast by the fan for the fan, powered by Lopez Pizza, built by Durham Remodeling, and colored by Ryan Allison Tattoo. The next time you can see Nick and I is Wednesday for our short form show, The Kickout. That's already ready to go, so you'll tune in, see that on Wednesday. Also on Wednesday, my monthly accountability podcast with our good friend Zach Takis, Wrestling with Fitness. We've got Jason Prentice on this month, so excited about that. And Nick, what do we got coming up on Thursday?
Thursday, surprise! It's our birthday. It's our 3rd birthday party. Come on out, hang out, grab some food. Stick around for the podcast. We will be at Kavanaugh's in Rock Island, Kavanaugh's Hilltop Bar and Grill, this Thursday evening. Of course, fun starts at 6:30. We will go live at 7. I'm sure we will be around before and after. There will be prizes, so make sure you get there, grab your ticket, sign up. There will be drawings. And, of course, we're going to do I'm trying to get CZ to do, like how when, 1-year-olds have their birthday photo shoot and they're sitting there like in their diaper just with their cake. I want CZ to do that. But he's kind of hemming and hawing about it.
Come on, CZ. That would be amazing.
See, you know what I mean, Chris?
It looks like I'm outvoted, so that maybe I'll give it some more thought. And then, of course, next weekend is SummerSlam weekend, so you can find us. We're not going to be at our normal time Sunday. We are going to be Saturday night, immediately following night 1 of SummerSlam, and then you can find us back here Tuesday night to cover night 2 and maybe talk a little bit about the Raw after as well. Raw after SummerSlam, not always as wild as the Raw after Mania, but it's still going to be a good time. I'm excited. We got an action-packed week ahead, so stay tuned. Tune in.
Absolutely. It's great to talk wrestling. It's great to make new wrestling friends, which we did today. You were already friends with them, but I'm friends with them now, and I'm glad to be friends with the Rejects. Great time, fellas. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We'll definitely do this again. CZ, you got anything else?
I don't. That's going to wrap things up for my tag team partner, the never wrong Nick Bull. I am the Wizard CZ. This is Card Subject to Change. We'll see you next time. Everybody go enjoy wrestling.
This has been a For Frequency's Sake Podcast Network production. For more great content, subscribe to For Frequency's Sake on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter.